Warning: the Atari Creep YouTube channel is intended for a mature audience. Regardless of the subject matter, this video may contain strong language, simulated violence, and lots of psychological nudity. Viewer discretion is advised. Alright, Blumhouse. Show me. You're mine, and we belong together. What's up, creepers and geekers? Christine, Atari Creep. How's everyone doing today? You know what? I don't know if you're even going to be able to see this. Yeah, there you go. This is one of my most prized possessions. This sits center on the shelf in my living room. This was put together by my friend Mike of the Airmall Custom Models. It's not an official Christine. You can buy these big metal hurdle cars that are Christine accurate. This was more of just a 58 Plymouth Fury that was red, like the idea of Christine. It used to be gold inside the gray, accented by the chrome, and I believe the roof was red. And he basically just Christinified it. But he went the next step further, and there's a battery that's supposed to go in the trunk, a 9-volt, which I don't have one, aside from the smoke detectors. I don't leave the battery in here because I don't want it to rot. Because, again, it is the centerpiece of my collection. But when you flip the switch, which he nicely did here on the trunk, the headlights, taillights come on, as well as a green light in the dashboard. Beautiful piece. This is probably going to be at my wake. And, if I don't go to a body farm, I want this in the ground with me. I cherish this. And the reason being is because the movie Christine itself, it struck a chord with me all the way back in 1983. I was, 8? I was 8 years old. But there was just something about that relationship between Arnie and the car and the way Jon Carpenter, showed it on screen, as well as the musical accompanying all that. Arnie's theme is just beautiful. Look it up. Just put in like Christine Arnie's theme or something like that. Real sweet, real soft. And it just struck a chord with me. It really did. I can relate with Arnie quite a bit. At one point, his friend says, "Hey, what is it with that fucking car?" He's like, I found something that was uglier than me. I could fix it up, though. There was a small glimmer of hope there, but then again, he was like, fuck, I'm going to be the ugliest thing on the planet again. And I can identify with that. I really can. Growing up for me, it was pretty rough. We bobbed and weaved and we went with the punches, but it was what it was. I've told stories plenty of times about my Schwinn Stingray. I got some accomplishment with school or something like that. My dad's like, all right, let's go get you a brand new bike. We went to a BMX shop. And I could have bought any fucking bike, any bike at all. I saw this piece of shit Schwinn Stingray in the corner. It didn't even have a wheel. It didn't even have a tire on one of it. It was like the forks, and then they had a rear wheel that was all fucked up, and it was red. That was my Christine. I chose that. My dad's like, really? You can have any of these BMX bikes here? There was Harrows, there was GTs, there was Redlines, there was Diamondbacks, there was Raleigh, there was. I picked that and saved my dad a whole bunch of money too. But I was always the guy who looked at the turd and realized I could polish that turd. And I enjoyed that bike probably a lot more than I would have any $600-700 bike that my dad was willing to spend the stupid money on. I don't remember what they would have cost back then. The whole point being, the whole reason I'm saying this is because I want you to understand that the movie Christine holds a very special place in my heart. It's one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time. And my top 5 favorite horror. I'll give you 4 of them. You can guess on the 5th. Top 5 horror flicks of all time is the original Friday the 13th, Christine, Children of the Corn, Phantasm, and then there's a 5th one. I'll let you guys guess what you think that might be. But talk about movies of all time. Right up there with, and I'm not saying in quality or production value. I'm talking about emotional attachment, okay? So don't lose your shit when I say this. Right up there with Empire Strikes Back and The Godfather Part 2. Christine's right there for me. So naturally, you would think I looked at this and said, oh, fuck no. Oh, fuck no. And you know what? There is a little bit of that inside of me. There really is. Good part of me says, this is just going to be your typical run-of-the-mill. We got to make it work for everybody. Let's copy what was come before. And that scares me, because I think that's going to be the Sony influence. However, Blumhouse is involved, and they have a pretty good track record lately. I posted about this on Facebook, as I was preparing for this video, and I'm getting some pretty typical responses from my personal friends. And one of them said that, he goes, Blumhouse has been doing some pretty decent stuff lately, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong in that. I'm more scared of the Sony influence. But let's look at this. I mean, I don't really know who this Brian Fuller is offhand. I know he's done a few other things. I know he did something about one of the Carrie remakes, the made-for-TV one that was kind of, But it just goes on to say exclusive. Sony Pictures and Blumhouse are revving up Christine, a new version of Stephen King's book by Brian Fuller and all these other people who are involved. The 1983 was directed by Jon Carpenter. About a shy kid who comes out of his shell after buying a 58 Plymouth Fury. If you've never seen the movie Christine, even if you're like horror shy, it's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. It's not your typical horror flick. There's not a lot of boogeyman scenes, not a lot of jump scares. It's all about suspense. There's not even that much gore. In fact, there's very little until the end. I won't tell you much about it. But what I am going to do is spoil a few parts. So if you've never seen the movie, click off. Just know I'm somewhat excited for this, but I have reasons. I have my reasons. But if you wish to follow, I'm going to ruin a few things about both the book and the movie. And the reason I'm excited about this is not because technology is different now. Technology is different, and that's going to help. It could hurt it, too. If they use the CGI properly, I think this could work out great. But there's a lot of differences between the book and Jon Carpenter's movie. He had to squish it down. There was two LeBays. The brother who actually owned the car sold it to Arnie. Then he died, and then they had to go talk to his brother about, whereas in the movie, his brother just sold it to him, and then they went and talked about the car and found out about the history after the fact. But it wasn't like that. And more importantly, in Jon Carpenter's rendition of it, the car was haunted. The car itself was alive, I should say. It wasn't haunted. It was alive. It was a being, whether it be a demon or just Johnny Five came alive. I don't know what the fuck the deal is in the Carpenter one, but regardless, you don't need to know. You just know the car's alive. Arnie brought it back from the dead, and they developed a relationship, and the car tried to protect Arnie the best it could while going on a murderous rampage. Kill for Arnie. I was trying to say kill for mommy. I just did Friday the 13th, the Friday the 13th video that you saw yesterday. So, so in the book, the car was actually haunted by its original owner, Ron LeBay. And there were a lot of scenes, death scenes, that were completely different, had completely different vibes from the Jon Carpenter release and the book. Again, very common to do, one kill in particular is the only one I'm going to talk about, is Buddy Repperton. In the movie, he gets run over very famously by Christine while Christine's on fire after blowing up the gas station. And he's running down the street, and the car runs him over. Whereas in the book, the car doesn't necessarily run him over. Ronnie jumps over a huge snowbank that the car cannot get over. And stands up and is like, ha, fuck you, I won. And the ghost of Ron LeBay gets out of the car, grabs him by his leg, and drags him into the street. That's all I'm going to say. I want to see that on the fucking screen. I want to see that on the screen. I think the only thing that would really hamper this for me, besides if they fuck it up, is the emotional stings with the music. I think that's so embedded in the original Christine that's probably going to be tough to get around that. And I'm not talking about the old rockabilly style of music, the 50s doo-wop and all that stuff. I'm talking about Jon Carpenter's actual score, his the Arnie's theme, Christine's theme, and all this stuff. Great soundtrack, fantastic soundtrack. I think not having that is probably going to be the only thing that takes me out of it this much. But if the storytelling is there, and the play actors are doing what they're supposed to do, and the effects aren't too crazy to where you lose that suspension of disbelief, I think it really could do something. I really do. Or it can be a complete flop. I'm not going to be the guy that says it's going to be. Everyone else is. And under normal circumstances, I would be too. But there's a lot of potential for this. So, dude, if you watch this, if now that the news is out and you're going around and looking for every stupid little YouTube thing, Brian, whatever the hell your name is, please take good care with this one. Please, please, please. This was an emotional one for a lot of people. A lot of people. And it could be done wonderfully, or you can completely fuck it up like everyone else has been doing. So that's it. How say you? I want to know down in the comments. What are your 100% thoughts? Did you relate with anything I just said? Do you think it could work in the way that as long as they go a little bit more book than they do Jon Carpenter's version, I think it could work as its own thing in its own thing. I was talking with a buddy last night about Rob Zombie movies, and he said he even liked the Halloween movies, as long as you take it out of the universe, the context of the old stuff. He's like, I kind of liked it. If Halloween hadn't existed, that would have been a fine movie. We go into these things with a little baggage, And I suppose as long as I can sit in that seat and just erase Jon Carpenter's for a couple hours, I think it'll work out great. But either way, guys, go ahead and leave your feedback. Thumbs up, thumbs down, all feedback to the creep is positive. Thank you always so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget the walk to end alzheimer's. It'll be here in September. You can click on that link down below. You guys have already done something miraculous. You were able to help get a new drug approved by the FDA. It's a little controversial from what I'm understanding at this point, but still, it's been shown to slow down the effects of Alzheimer's, and that's a step in the right direction. And that's all because of you guys and your efforts. Thank you. And just know we still have a lot of fight to go. So don't just sit down in your corner and take a breather. Get back up. We gotta do this. We gotta go take this to the last round and knock it out. Knock it right out of his fucking mind. And that's it. Guys, thank you always so much for watching. I can't say that enough. I hope you're doing well. And until next time, take care. Creep it real. And bye-bye.